Have you ever stopped, really stopped, and thought about it? That even a billionaire, even the richest man in the room, could lose it all. Go broke, end up with nothing, out on the street. We tell ourselves money is a wall, that if you just have enough of it, nothing can touch you, nothing can reach you. But here's the thing, this man, he had everything. Billions, a family empire older than the country he was born in, and he didn't lose it to a bad bet. He didn't lose it to debt. He didn't lose it the way the others did. He lost something stranger. He lost himself. One freezing morning, high in the Swiss Alps, he stepped onto a ski lift, alone, and he rode up into the mountains. And no one, not his wife, not his children, not the police of 3 different countries, has ever seen him again. This is the story of the billionaire who vanished, without a trace. Let me take you back, long before the private jets, long before the billions, before any of it. There was a shop, a small grocery in Germany, with a single family name above the door, Tengelmann. It opened its doors back in the 1800s, when Germany wasn't even fully Germany yet. And that little shop, it grew and grew, through wars, through depressions, through a century that swallowed entire empires whole. By the time our man was born, Tengelmann wasn't a shop anymore. It was a giant. Supermarkets, discount chains, hardware stores, spread across Europe and beyond. One of the largest retail empires the continent had ever produced. Now, meet the heir. Karl-Erivan Haub. Born in 1960, not in Germany, but in Tacoma, Washington. An American by birth, a German by blood. 2 passports, 2 worlds. He could have coasted. He was rich the day he was born. He could have spent his whole life on a beach somewhere and never lifted a finger. But that's not who he was. He studied, got his MBA in Switzerland, and around the year 2000, he took the wheel of the family empire, running it shoulder to shoulder with his brother. For almost 20 years, he was Tengelmann, and he didn't just inherit wealth, he multiplied it. At his peak, this man was worth somewhere north of $6 billion. $6 billion. And here's the part people forget. He wasn't some soft, spoiled, rich kid. The man was an athlete, disciplined, obsessive even. Every couple of years, he trained for one of the hardest endurance races on Earth, a brutal 53-kilometer ski mountaineering race across the high Alps, the kind of race that breaks professional athletes in half. He ran it, again and again. So picture this man, billions in the bank, a 150-year-old empire in his hands, a beautiful family, the body of an athlete, the mind of a CEO. If anyone in this world was untouchable, it was him. And that is exactly where the story turns cold. April 2018. Karl-Erivan flies to Zermatt, that famous little resort town beneath the Matterhorn. He's there to train. The big race is coming, and he's done it a dozen times before. This is routine. This is home turf. On the morning of April 7th, he leaves his hotel, skis on his shoulder, a small day pack, and he heads up the mountain, alone. Remember that word, alone. The cameras catch him one last time at the top station, near the highest cable car in Europe, a lone figure stepping out into the white. And then, nothing. He doesn't come back that night. The next morning, the hotel realizes his bed was never slept in. They call the police, and the machine roars to life. Helicopters, rescue teams, dogs. Days of searching across one of the most dangerous glacier fields on the planet. 6 days, they look. 6 days. And not a single trace. No body. No skis. No backpack. No glove. Nothing. It's as if the mountain simply opened up and swallowed him. By October, The search is quietly shut down, and just 10 days after he vanished, his younger brother steps in and takes sole control of the entire empire. 3 years later, a German court does the thing the family had been dreading. It declares Karl-Erivan Haub legally dead. Case closed. Except, it wasn't. Not even close. Because the deeper investigators dug, the less any of it made sense. Start with the obvious. This was an expert mountaineer, a man who had crossed these glaciers more times than most people drive to work. Why would he go up there, completely alone, with no partner, no rope, no plan? And then they pulled his phone records. In the 3 days before he disappeared, Karl-Erivan had called the same number, over and over, more than a dozen times, some of those calls lasting over an hour. The number belonged to a woman in Moscow, 20 years younger than him. A woman his family says they had never even heard of. And there's more. His private jet was supposed to take him somewhere else entirely. At the last minute, the destination was changed, rerouted to Zermatt. So now a new theory creeps in, a darker one. What if the mountain didn't take him at all? What if he used it? What if a man worth billions looked at his entire life, the empire, the marriage, the children, the name, and decided to walk away from every last piece of it? Step onto a lift, disappear into the fog, shed his old self up there on the ice, and quietly start again, with a new name, a new face, a new life, in Russia. It sounds insane. Until you remember, this is a man who had the money, the connections, and apparently the motive to make a person vanish, even if that person was himself. And reportedly, people claim they've seen him in Moscow, years after he was declared dead. Back home, the family tore itself apart. His own wife refused at first to sign the death certificate. Court fights, a power struggle over who would inherit the empire and the billions. Relatives filing claims, then withdrawing them. His brother standing in a courtroom, swearing under oath that there was no sign, none, that Karl-Erivan was still alive. No sign he was alive. Or no sign anyone wanted to find. And just when this case was finally going cold, it got stranger. In 2025, newly released documents surfaced, the Epstein files, and buried in them was something nobody expected. A record showing that Jeffrey Epstein's own brother had contacted Swiss police, raising a possible connection to the Haub case. Now, let's be honest. Nobody has proven what that link is. It may be nothing. A loose thread, a coincidence. But it's the kind of loose thread that keeps a mystery breathing, years after the body should have been found. So which is it? Is Karl-Erivan Haub frozen somewhere deep beneath the ice of that glacier, the mountain keeping his secret forever? Or is he sitting in an apartment in Moscow right now, a free man, watching the world spend its years searching for a ghost? Here's the part that should stay with you. We started this with a simple idea that even a billionaire can fall, can lose everything, end up with nothing. But Karl-Erivan Haub proved something colder than that. He didn't lose his money. He had all of it. He lost the one thing money was never able to buy back, his own ending. The empire didn't save him. The billions didn't save him. The discipline, the planning, the control, none of it. In the end, he just stepped into the fog. And the richest kind of disappearance swallowed him whole. Every empire falls. Some collapse in flames. This one just walked into the mountains and never came back. If you want more stories like this, empires that rise to the sky, and the strange, brutal ways they end, subscribe. Because we'll tell you how every single one of them falls.